Fall Guys the most important game of our generation? Some people might say, oh, but it's just a game. But isn't life a game? You might say there's other more important games like, I don't know, Minecraft or Grand Theft Auto or Roblox, perhaps, that have been more influential. But it's not always about the influence. Sometimes it's about an idea that spreads. 2,500 years ago, Plato came up with an idea of the allegory for the cave. You know, that there's a bunch of people in this cave and we're looking at shadows of objects that pass by. And we're not actually experiencing base reality or what is real, we're just witnessing the shadow of the real thing. But the thing is, that doesn't really make any sense. He's obviously not talking about a cave. He's talking about a metaphor. He's saying that a lot of people, because they don't think, because they're not philosophers, they don't understand what reality is. But he's saying, once you start thinking more deeply, you start seeing the truth, just like how someone would see a shadow and the real thing. And if you've only seen shadows your entire life, you'll think that that's reality. Anyways, why am I mentioning Plato? I mean, what the fuck does that have to do with, you know, Fall Guys being an important game? Well, basically, it's the same thing. Fall Guys as a game works as a metaphor, as an allegory for a lot of things. And I'll think back to this quote by Jung that I read recently in Modern Man in Search of a Soul. A man can hope for satisfaction and fulfillment only in what he does not yet possess. He cannot find pleasure in something of which he has already had too much. This quote, what does it come back to? Well, the basic premise of Fall Guys in most of these games is you're racing to a finish line. You're trying to survive and not, you know, fall into like the slimy goo. Reaching the finish line and surviving in Fall Guys is important exactly because of the fact that not everyone can do it. There's a time limit, you know, it's the first so many people that reach the finish line. Sometimes it says you have to survive, a few people have to get out, and it's just like reality. So the thing for the Fall Guy that makes success important and valuable is the fact that not everyone can attain it. Much like in every other aspect of human endeavors and in life itself, everything that we value is defined by scarcity. The actual genius of Fall Guys is the fact that the myth of Sisyphus, you know, the dude pushing the boulder up the hill, I mean, why is he doing that? It's almost like the fact that he can never reach it that makes it fulfilling. It's about the journey, you know, not the destination. It's a very kind of cyclical thing, you know. I mean, as Camus put it, the workman of today works every day in his life at the same tasks, and this fate is no less absurd. But it is tragic only at the rare moments when it becomes conscious. So Camus is basically just saying, like, bro, if you're working like an office job, you know, you're basically Sisyphus. You're pushing this boulder up because there is no like reaching the top of the mountain, you know, with this boulder. And even if you do, you're gonna fall down. There is no point in this work where you kind of are going to feel some sort of real fulfillment, and it's just gonna be like, that's it, that's done. You know, it's until your senses fail. And it's a very similar thing that we can observe in Fall Guys, because even if you reach the finish line, what happens after that? Once you get success, what do? Well, you play another game. It's the same thing. The boulder reaches the top and it falls down. You're forced to just keep on going and going and going in this cyclical nature. Even once you have a success, to go for another one. These kind of define goals in games and stuff. It's exactly the same thing that's necessary in life. For an enjoyable game, you need to have these kind of rules. Otherwise, you don't know what you're doing. Like, success needs to be measured in Fall Guys by, you know, surviving long enough or by reaching the finish line. I mean, there's literally a game in Fall Guys where you're chasing tails. Oh, for a classic. You're chasing tail, right? You've got to get a tail for yourself.
I don't even like having tail. No, I mean, like, I don't even like having a tail. Like, I'd rather just get it, like, later on in the game, because, bro, you're living in, like, a perpetual state of anxiety otherwise. Like, you're just looking for the tail. Yeah, see, I have the tail, right? But what, can I get more tail? Like, no, I only got one, right? But I can always lose it, so it's like, is it even worth it? I think most people have tails, though, actually. Maybe I'm just chilling.
And everyone's trying to get the tail, and there's only so many tails. I mean, it's fabulous, really. I mean, it's basically, you know, a metaphor for the modern dating market. You know, everyone's just trying to like, grab a tail for themselves. It's just kind of this frantic chase for tail. The only unrealistic thing about the tail game, I'd say, in Fall Guys is you can only have one tail at a time. We know that's not the case in dating. But besides the point, anyways, the thing that makes a good game is rules, and it's saying this is what success is, this is what failure is. And the more we try and get rid of that, the more kind of miserable you come, because you're like, well, what am I doing? Like, if there's no defined failure, if, falling off in Fall Guys, well, doesn't make you lose, then how do you win? Well, you're just gonna make your own kind of metric. Like, the strongest metrics will always be those imposed by society, by other people, accepted. And there's this quote by Kafka, I am free and that is why I'm lost. That is a very good explanation about a lot of people's misery in their lives. The fact that most people maybe don't want freedom. What is freedom if you don't know what to do with it? What is freedom if you don't know what success is? You don't know what joy is. You can't achieve that. Even if you say, well, whatever I do, I'm not a failure. It's about my personal choice. Well, then if whatever you do, you're not a failure, whatever you do, you're not a winner. Because it's a binary, one creates the other. We can't exist in this world that we've tried to create where there's only success. It's just a matter of how you define it. It just doesn't work like that. I mean, even Kafka agrees with me, like the castle, the guy goes into the castle, this village, like people are all like really strange and stuff. I don't even remember what happens, but it just doesn't make any sense. Like the guy kind of loses idea of what's going on. I didn't even finish the book because I don't really care about the story that much. I didn't find it interesting. But I do care about the beans because I think the story there, the symbol, is important. Comes to think of it, one of Kafka's most famous, I think it's a novella, Metamorphosis, it's about a dude getting turned into a bug and coming to terms with that. Like, how do you live? What do you do? Just so sudden, so absurd. I think absurdism really ties into Fall Guys and into much of life. I mean, there's a reason that it popped up like in the 20th century alongside all these kind of technical and industrial advancements that we saw in society. The thing is, if you're a human, you get turned into a bug, what do? Well, the first thing, you probably live as a bug, I guess. I mean, as a human-sized bug. I mean, what other option do you have? Like, you follow your instincts, you follow biology. Now, the beans in Fall Guys, they don't have biology. They do have this other metric of success that's kind of imposed on them. Of course, we're not like the beans either, because we have biology and we have instincts, like reproduce, take care of your offspring, stuff like that. And yet the interesting thing is, this kind of metric of success that can give us purpose, we're trying to take away, which seems so strange when you think about it, because it's like, what else are you going to follow then? We're trying to take away all these kind of paths of success because we're saying, well, we don't like being able to fail if we don't follow that. It reminds me again, going back to another quote by Jung, that kind of perfectly illustrates this. The modern man is not eager to know in what way he can imitate Christ, but in what way he can live his own individual life, however meager and uninteresting it may be. I think Christianity and a lot of religions, they represent symbols. That's why there's so many allegories in the Bible. It's because people understand that. And it's basically saying, a lot of this stuff, a lot of the Bible kind of brings up these archetypes of people, like the Virgin Mary, Jesus Christ, these very kind of aspirational figures that you can model your own behavior after. And Jung is basically saying, like, we reject these archetypes, a lot of people, they're secular, they're saying, well, I don't think that's the ideal. They reject their own biology. They say, well, I don't think necessarily having children is what I want to do. And you're left lost because it's like, well, what do you want to do? What is your metric of success? And your metric of success is incomplete without your metric for failure.
Sometimes a skip it's a risk, A risk can bring you a reward. A failure, you could lose, but you could also win.
Coming back to Fall Guys, I think it represents this very well, because what would the bean in Fall Guys be if the finish line didn't mean success? What would he do? I mean, really think about it. Like, what happens when he falls down into the slime? Who knows? We don't know. Just like how we don't know for certainty what comes at the end of our lives, what happened before, or what the end goal is. But he does have at least this metric of success of the finish line, but without it, he's nothing. If the bean decided the finish line and surviving no longer meant success, then he would have killed the only hope of fulfillment in his silly bean existence. He would have been left with nothing. just like us.
Whatever, yeah. See, like I got so close, but it doesn't matter. Like if you have it for like a minute and 29 seconds, you gotta have it at the end. That's kind of like how life is, you know, with this stuff. You just the segregation game mode. You see people with tails, they're like your kind of people, but like, and you're like, I'm chill, he's chill, you know. But if they don't have any tail, you're like, oh damn, get away from me, you know. It's that kind of moment, you know. I mean, I'm grateful to have the tail, really I am. But I'd rather have it at the end, because otherwise it means nothing, right? Like, bro, I don't even know what I'm talking about, but also maybe I'm right. I'm right. It's kind of this anxiety, because you're like, will I have it when it matters type of thing, you know?